family, thanks for watching. This video is going to be a little discombobulated because you're going to see me do several outfit changes because it's being taken over a series of 3 months, I think, with 4 months. All of our hives swarmed in the early spring. Now, part of that was because we weren't around to be able to manage swarm control. The other reason is because I think we've been approaching it incorrectly all the way up until now. So this year we did a bit of extra research and watched more videos about swarms than I care to admit, especially one beekeeper in the UK, which I will try to remember to put a link to his video in the description. We started trying to implement a new system. You may have noticed that we haven't really posted anything about the bees lately, and we kind of wanted to implement it and test it before making the video and putting this all together. We've had really bad luck over the years with swarming. Part of that is because spring's always a busy time for us and we're not as diligent about watching after the bees. But I think the other issue is that we weren't aware of was crowding, and specifically what kind of crowding it was. Our approach is kind of a combination of different methods. I wouldn't call it any one thing. It's basically a more bespoke to our particular situation. We pulled nuggets from everybody that we could get advice from and kind of culminated into our own theory. In April, we started identifying hives that had queen cells, but of course, silly me hit the record button off, so I captured the before and after, but not what the frames looked like with queen cells. So here's a clip from a video we recorded before that does a poor job of showing it. In the past, when we saw these queen cells, we simply scraped them off and gave the hives supers as a way of giving them more space to build out comb. Building out super comb is a little different to building out brood comb, because when your hives are building out brood comb, you can ideally give them sugar water and pollen patties to help further that along. But with supers, you're usually taking that stuff away because you don't want that sugar water to get into the honey. You kind of destroy the whole crop. I mean, I guess if you were planning never to harvest the super, it'd be fine. But then you have to pay attention to which supers you had given them sugar water with. And this year was the first spring with all new equipment and all new supers that were a different size from previous years, so we couldn't take everything and carry it over. We started to realize that boxes with just the foundation as is wasn't working, and we devised a plan this time to put discarded wax onto each side. Now, in the past, we've done this for the brood, but we'd never thought to do it for the supers as well. In hindsight, it seems obvious that we missed that small detail, but obviously hindsight is 2020. Our working theory is that the bees don't like these new super frames, and they ignored them. And then the bottom deep got too full, so they swarmed. After going through our 3 hives, green, purple, and orange, we found orange had 2 frames with queen cells. We removed those from orange, kept the bees on them, checked for eggs, and we put everything into an 8-frame deep box that we had on hand. We also pulled a deep frame full of resources, but without the bees from purple and green, that had honey, brood, and pollen, and put that in the new hive as well. It is important not to take bees from a different hive and throw them in together in a box because they will fight, but unhatched brood is okay. Then we filled the outside of this new 8-frame hive with blank frames that had old comb pressed into them. Basically, what we've learned is when you hear, oh, the bees need more space, they don't just need actual physical space, they need comb space. And that is the key thing that we never really grasped until this year. I should also clarify that we did identify the queens in our older hive boxes before shifting everything around. And after we removed the frames, we replaced them with empty, already had comb frames, that were built out, and we placed those into the empty spots. Although I gotta say, orange hive queen makes the weirdest sound. She's a lot smaller than the others. Mm-hmm. But I saw a queen cup on here. It's the middle of May. I'm up before the family is, trying to get a few things done. Right now I'm in the greenhouse. I put this cool shade cloth up and I thought it'd make a great background because it's just starting to get a bit hot during the days, and a fan isn't doing the trick anymore. I forgot my tripod inside and I don't really want to bug anybody, so I'm just gonna handhold today after I finish watering. Let's go check it out. I'm excited to see how the bees are doing. Giving these girls space that they can work with has been quite successful. It's a little early to tell, but we'll keep this video going to the end of the season. So right now it's about June and we haven't had any swarms since. And I don't believe we are in swarm season anymore. It is hot as Hades. It's only, I don't have my watch, but I think it's only about 8:30 and it is sweltering. At this time now, our concern more is the hive absconding because the conditions aren't suitable for them. We've never had an issue with that in the past. The nice thing about where they're situated is there's a tree here that shades them in the afternoon sun. So they pretty much just get the morning rays and then they stay kind of shaded for the rest of the day. I'm going to hop into the hives right now and confirm that everything that we've been doing with managing the swarms as far as prepping the supers goes, it has been working, and see if there's any bit of extra frames to harvest. Agreeably, you don't really want to be harvesting first year queen honey because you don't want to leave them deprived in the winter. But we have found that some of these breeds are hyper prolific and they actually can get honeybound. So I want to make sure they all have at least one super to play with. They're building the comb out in a weird fashion. They've made this one extra thick, and then the one next to it is completely empty. We thought we were outsmarting the bees by taking ones that started to have comb built on it and moving the ones that didn't have comb built on them into the middle. But I think the bees outsmarted us and just ignored the one we put in the middle. So as a result, everything's built really wonky in here. This one's looking really good. It's only sticking out a little bit at this end, but it's sticking out a lot on this end. Darn. I might harvest this, even it out, and return it back to them. So I'm going to try to harvest that stuff today or tomorrow, because as you may have seen in one of our previous videos, pests live on those things. The hive manages to keep the pests in control, but if you leave the frames off the hive too long, there's nobody monitoring them anymore and the pests hatch and ruin the batch of honey. So my goal is to harvest those tonight and put these back on tomorrow morning. Another reason why I'm not too worried about harvesting the honey right now from the super is because there is a load of honey right in here that they are working on. Okay, I'm going to check the two middle frames here because this is one thing I learned from watching that other YouTuber, is making sure the laying brood pattern is fine and they've got plenty of places to go. All right, I'm not going to disturb this hive anymore because it's already quite agitated from me poking my nose around in it. I see queen cells, I see new eggs, I see nice laying pattern. They are doing the wonky thing on the bottom as well because we put in empty frames. So the frames next to the empty frames got built out too far. One of the reasons why people recommend taking the frames out and putting them back exactly as they are so that the comb matches up so that you don't get weird build out like we have. But we were more concerned about the swarming at the time and did what we could with what we had. That is all the honey from the wonky frames. Cool, right? That was from 4 frames in orange and 3 from purple that were poorly built out. And then all this beautiful comb is ready to give back to the girls to fill up with honey again while there's still blooms going on. We started this channel years ago for funsies, but personally I've been keeping it going because I really enjoy the attention. No, I'm just kidding. I really enjoy connecting with you guys and I love hearing your feedback. I love it when family calls me up and gives me advice on something I had just posted. Keeps me motivated to wake up at 5 in the morning to do this like I am right now. The whole hive is on alert because I've been in here shuffling things around and upsetting them. Okay, success. Everything is looking fantastic. Orange hive, everything's perfect with it. We also finally finished modifying it so that all the frames fit in easily so we don't have that problem hopefully going forward where it's really hard to pull out frames because the spacing is a bit off. Purple hive, looking good, really healthy, super full. We're in the process of fixing its brood box because the spacing is off on that one too. We have a new yellow hive. We're keeping the new yellow hive as an 8 frame because back before we started beekeeping we bought a flow hive and we've never been able to successfully get the flow hive to work. But now that we've got a few years under our belt and understand a little more what we're doing, we're hoping next year to give that a go. So yellow hive for the time being will be different size, different equipment to all the others. I really should be feeding yellow hive since it is a very new colony that we just split from orange hive this year. And when I got in there I looked and they don't really have a whole lot of comb built out other than what we supplied them to begin with. Probably not this week, but next week I will get in there and I will give them some pollen and some honey. I will make sure to put that in the top so that they aren't being threatened by putting it at the entrance, and hopefully that will get them going. But we would like to see this hive full and ready to go by the time winter comes along. Green hive, we had put one of the supers below because the queen was laying in an erratic way. They were completely empty of honey in the brood box and there was honey in the super that they weren't touching. So we decided to take one of the supers, put it below. However, I think we left the super below for too long and they started backfilling with brood, which is not a problem. I'm going to let that hatch out and monitor it. If not, it's not a big deal. We'll just leave it on over winter and allow them to have that extra space to play with. So our new swarming approach has been successful. 4 hives. Nobody has thought about swarming for the last couple of months. It's been fabulous. We've already got some honey harvested. It's gonna be awesome. This has been a little longer video for me to edit, and if you're still watching it to the end here, thank you. Please remember to like and comment down below, and just check out this beautiful morning.